Hi leaders, thanks for watching this weekly Connect. This week we're going to continue in our study on Job, and we're going to be in Job 19. We're going to study verses 1 through 27. And the point we're really getting across to the kiddos is that God will never leave them. So even when things were going really bad for Job, God was still with him. God still knew what was going on in his life, and he was still with him. Job was never actually alone. So before the story, we have a couple of activities you can do. You'll have both activities in every room. I did suggest in the curriculum that maybe first through second grade decided to do like these emoticons, where they will have these emoticons. You'll have a whole group of them, and they will pull one of the emoticons out of the bag or the bucket, however you do it. And then they have to give clues to the other people in the room, and the people have to guess what emotion they are acting out. So maybe if they're trying to act out a happy emoticon, they would say, they would just use words like, I have ice cream, I just got the video game I wanted, I just got an A+ on my assignment at school or something like that. And people would then say, oh good, so you're either excited or you're happy or something like that. And they'll guess the emoticon. So I did suggest that for the younger kids. Obviously you can do it for any age group. You know your classroom better than I would. But I do also have a maze in your classroom, and if you have time you can do them both. Obviously this one's already done for you, but it's kind of a complicated maze, and the kiddos can work on that maze too. And really when we're doing that, we're talking about how mazes can be confusing, and we've all felt confused, not knowing exactly what's going on, and that's how Job was feeling. That's how we'll tie it into our story. Okay, and then you'll transition right into your story time, and your Connect question is, when have you felt the most disappointed and why? So let the kids talk about that for a little bit. And then if you're telling the story, you will have some puzzle pieces, and you'll need some tape to, as you're telling the story, so that you can just tape those right up to the whiteboard or the board behind you, however you do that at your story time. And you're going to be talking about some recaps on everything that Job has lost and how he was feeling. And then in Job 19, it goes all through, like Job is speaking out, crying out to God, and he's talking to him and kind of trying to understand everything that's happened to him while he's crying out to the Lord and talking about what has been taken away from him. So read over 13 through 19. You'll read right out of scripture. You'll read it right out of the Bible. You can choose one of the kiddos to read that if you'd like. And then as you're telling the story and we're talking about friends, family, you'll start taping up the puzzle pieces. So it's all written out for you in your curriculum. Basically what we're going to be talking to the kids about is that even though all of this stuff was taken away from Job, he had lost so much. In the end, in Job 19:25, Job says, I know that my Redeemer lives, and then in the end, he will stand on the earth. So even after all of these horrible things had happened to him, Job still had faith. He still knew that God was his Redeemer. He was questioning, he was having questions, he was wondering why this was all happening to him, but he still had faith in who God was, even through all the circumstances around him. And he did know that he wasn't alone. He knew that God was still with him, although all these things were happening to him. So you'll finish that up, and then you'll move right into worship and offering time. And then your blessing is from James 1:2 through 5. Consider it pure joy, my brothers, when you are involved in various trials, because you know that the testing of your faith produces endurance. May you all rely on God even in hard times. When you feel alone, may you remember that God is with you always. He will never leave you. May you all feel his mighty presence in your lives this week and always. And then you'll go back to your room. Of course, you'll go over all the questions, have a nice discussion with your kids. You can have your prayer time at this time as well. And then you have a little activity called Who Asked That, which is just papers with questions on it. So it's really going to be more of a Bible lookup. So you can either pair up your kids, or you can do it all together in a classroom, or you can put them in big groups, however it works best for your class. But we're going to be having the kids look up some Bible passages and try and figure out who asked these questions. So some of the questions like, how will this be? Or why did you bring me out of this womb? Why did you stay silent while the wicked attack the righteous? Things such as that. So people in the Bible were questioning and asking God about these things. And then we're going to go through the Bible, look up the verses, and figure out who was asking what. And what we want to talk about is how even when other people are questioning or not I guess not relying on God, not giving control over to God, maybe thinking that they have the control themselves, even while they're doing that, we know that God is still in control. And even though we may have questions and we may have concerns, even the people in the Bible who were very strong in their faith sometimes did struggle a little bit and question God. And the point we want to get across to the kiddos is even if they do sometimes have questions, they can still rely on their faith. They can still know that God is there, and God is bigger than their questions. He's still there regardless of what they're thinking. And if they talk to him, if they ask him, if they have this fellowship with him and come to him in reverence, but ask for understanding, ask for wisdom, that he can show them the way, just as many of these other Bible characters did as well. So even when they're struggling with their faith, which sometimes, we all know we have ebbs and flows, even when things aren't going great, we can teach the kids that, even as adults we do that. People who are very strong Christians in the Bible had those same questions, and God is still bigger than all of that. And through all of this, we know that he doesn't leave us. He doesn't stop loving us because we have these questions. He doesn't turn from us. He still loves us and wants us to be with him. And it's okay for us to come to him with our questions and to ask him things. So, all right, that is our weekend. So, of course, like I said before, you have prayer. There's some prompting in here too. You can do your prayer time. Put all of your responses and your prayers in your journal so you can go back over them at a later time. And then if you still have time after all of that, the Bible work for next week, we're going to be looking at Job 38 through 39. So those are all the things we're going to be doing. So I hope that this helps you to prepare for your lesson. Happy preparing and happy teaching this weekend. If you have any questions, call your campus coordinator, or you can always email me and I'd be happy to talk to you about it as well. So God bless and happy preparing.